Hello, beautiful people. This is Cindy Presgraves with Real Estate and the Adventures of Parenthood. It's been a while. I know there's been a lot going on lately. I'm super excited, but I want to talk to you guys today about what is your worth and your value. Now, I want to give you guys a little bit of a moment so you guys can think about, do you value yourself? Do you know your value? And do you know your worth? Do you know you're worth it, right? So I know the market has completely changed, meaning that higher interest rates, buyers are being squeezed out of the market. Now, my question is, are you working harder or are you working less? And a lot of clients or a lot of people, sellers, buyers, they don't value that. And the last couple of months, I would say I I've been picking and choosing who I want to work with, who I don't want to work with. There is, I would tell you, how can I say this without getting in trouble? In this case, I'm not getting in trouble, by the way. So there's this client that I've been working with them for over a year, and all of a sudden they tell me, we are very dissatisfied with what have you offered. So, I I personally like I have a good marketing strategy, and we had been talking about this like, hey, you know what happens if it's a buyer's market? But all they've been trying to do is nitpicking at everything I've done. And in this case, having that client and having another client, a FISBO and all that, I guess I've had to come and realize that what is my worth? Is it worth my time or is it not worth it? Or is it worth the headache? And sometimes you got to walk away from these people and say, you know what, I'm not going to go ahead and do this. There's so much more than just putting a sign in front of a yard. And it doesn't come just putting a sign in front of a yard. It comes with everything else: relationship, business, personal, friendship. Are they meeting you halfway? Are they, when you need them, are they there? When they need you, are you there? So there's so many things to take this into consideration and think about. And that's one of the reasons I'm like, you know what? Do people know what their value is? And I want to read you guys the definition of value. So value is not only about money wise, but it's also considered to be important or beneficial, having a high opinion of. So in this case, there's another one: a person's principles or standards of behavior when judgment of what is important in life, or the regard that something is held to deserve the importance, worth, or usefulness of something. So just sit back, think about for a moment, what are the things that you value? It could be your kids, your husband, yourself. So after listening to that, how much value do you bring to the table? And you may say, you know what? I'm all I do is I'm a stay-at-home mom. And that's all I do. But you are a value asset to that household. Because if we look at this, it's like you cook, you clean, you do the laundry, all of these little things. You take care of the kids, you put them to bed, you spend time with your husband or your significant other. Those are things of value. And sometimes we don't look at those things that way because it's a day to day. And sometimes we like, nah, that's the same thing over and over again. But let's say, for instance, if your significant other just takes out the trash, is that a value that you give them? Of course. It's like, okay, so now I don't have to take out the trash, but he or she's taking out the trash, or your kids are taking out the trash, and you praise them for that. So imagine the other way around, like, great job for doing the laundry, be like, yay! So that's where I'm coming up. And these are like just smallest things. And, you know, like picking your kids from school. Yes, you're like, well, that's something I have to do all the time. But that you are value to that completely. Or taking them to sports. You know how hard it is to keep a schedule and to be consistent with it. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about worth. You know, what is the meaning of worth? So it's equivalent in value to the sum or item specified. So, do you know what that is? Do you know what your value is? Do you think you're worth it? Value as expressed in money or amount of time of something. So now that I'm actually talking about value and worth, so is your time valuable? Is it worth it? And how much is it worth it? And those are things that you need to take that into consideration. So if you were to spend time with your kids, with your husband, your family, what does that mean? Would that be valuable to you or not? Right? I'm going to give you a moment for you to think about this and think about this long and hard before I say anything else. What is the value and worth that you would put spending time with your family? What happens when you're taken away from your family, like on a Saturday or Sunday, or an evening that you're supposed to be in a sports event for your kids, or an event with your husband because he has something? So there's little things that you need to think about. What is valuable to you? Is it valued? It doesn't have to be monetarily, but what is your value and worth? Now, my question is to you is, does everybody deserve your time? Does your time have a price? Do you give everybody time a day? And why not? So, those are strong points that I'm bringing you to the table. And why is that? Now, it doesn't matter as me as a realtor, real estate agent, you know, selling houses, helping buying houses. Now, I'm going to ask you this. Now that you thought about the value, your worth, your time, efforts, put all of that in a list. Now, my question is, and this could be qualified as in all type of levels. It doesn't matter what it is. Like I said earlier, personal, relationship, um, business. Uh, yeah, it could be anything. So now I want to talk to you guys about this, and let's stay clear on this completely. And the reason I want to stay clear on this is now that you have the value, your time, your worth, even like, you know what, even cutting the yard or decorating or every single little thing that you take time to actually do something, it actually is effort and value, worth. So your knowledge, your experience, and it doesn't matter what it is or what it isn't, that is time that you're being taken away from or being used by. Now we're going into this, and as an agent, so let's say, for instance, yes, I have two little ones and I love them like crazy, but my times are usually taken out by clients and, you know, and yes, you're like, okay, you can better organize yourself. But what is my priority? What is my worth? Now, this client that told me that she is not happy with the services that I'm offering, um, believe me, it got me a little bit upset because I'm not going to say this, but I put a lot of love and I put a lot of effort into my work completely. Not complaining about this. But the way when you are criticizing someone and telling them that because you see a video and you want them to edit it because of a cough, because you thought it was funny and all that, and then we'll get into social media later on, but you're not seeing the bigger picture. And a lot of people don't understand that. But a lot of people don't understand, let's say, for instance, I'm a realtor, right? This person has a job that is not in real estate. And in this case, I would say my job is very different from hers or from them. So they don't understand what is entailed to actually sell a house, especially when you're actually a social media influencer, when you are trying to get as many clients as possible, but you're trying to actually market their property at the same time. And a lot of people can say, hey, you know what, social media has to be professional. No, it doesn't. It's changed completely. But now let me talk to you as an agent. What is everything that we do? And there's so many things that a lot of people don't even know. So there's like 150 things we do even before listing a property. So if I'm going to tell you guys a little bit like, you know, getting ready. Okay, so we do research tax records, right? We verify that the complete legal information is there, is completely disclosed. The square footage, sometimes we don't get the square footage, annual tax bills, other property information. Then we verify the legal description. We verify the names on titles, because keep that in mind. If that name and title is not there, then what's going to happen? You can't sell the property. If it's going through divorce, then it all depends on who's the spouse that is on the deed, depending on the county, state, anything. We verify. We have to research the sales, the mortgage, how much. I mean, the history. Is it on foreclosure? What's going on? Every state is different. Keep that in mind. We also have to actually analyze and see what's going on with each property, right? The market right now, the market is totally different, it's going in a totally different direction. But we educate ourselves and we do a lot of research. Same time, we want to stay on top of what's going on with the market. So, these are some of the things like analyzing the price, analyzing why homes continue to stay on the market day after day. In this case, um, properties that are over 800,000 or 700,000, they're staying a little bit longer in the market, between 45 and 60 days. We don't know that yet, just because this is actually, it's increased a little bit higher, the interest rate. But I mean, it doesn't mean that they're doing a bad job. It's because it squeezed out a lot of people are able to buy that type of house. Now, this is like calling agents to discuss activity comparables. I mean, there's so many other things that we don't even realize that we are doing, that are taking our time, the value of our time and our worth. And this is because we know how to do this completely. So there's a little bit more of things that entail just being a real estate agent than just putting a nice how do I say this, a really nice app, or not an app, but a sign, a sign, and just say, oh, take pictures and that's it. There's so much more to it. So now this is why I'm talking about the value. I mean, we do the consultation. Like today, I went to a listing appointment. Okay, I made my research, but I did not know what type of house was it, because on the tax records it says something differently. When I looked at the map, I mean, when I looked at Google Maps, there's completely something different. But when I went to the actual property, it's like, oh wow, totally different. So I wasn't, like, sometimes you jump into these situations and you're like, what am I walking myself into? Huh. Anyways, but we walk into them. So in this case, I it took me 2 hours for the listing presentation. Sometimes would be like, why would you want to go ahead and not have a listing presentation completely, right? But you want to be prepared. And why would it take you 2 hours when some people say, oh no, you know what, it should just take you a few minutes. And in this case, it doesn't really take you a few minutes because you want to go ahead and create that relationship and that bond, especially like you want to ask questions, you want to know what's going on, you want to know where they're moving, you're selling, but what's happening now. And in order for them to feel more comfortable, then you actually need to spend a little bit more quality time with them and make them feel comfortable that you're the agent for that sell to sell their house. So that's why I'm saying the value and how much time you spend and the education. It's like now I'm going to put it in terms of, okay, so I have another client. He just got laid off, and in this case, his in order for him to get a management position, even though he had a management position now, he actually needs to have 12 years of experience in order to be part of that management experience or a 4-year degree. In this case, if he were to have a 4-year degree, then he wouldn't have to go through that 12-year experience. But a lot of jobs are requiring that 12-year experience or that 4-year degree. So you see the value and the worth, and this is not in all scenarios. So this is what I'm saying. You are worth it, especially if you're a real estate agent. It doesn't matter in what type of market you are. It's never depreciate what you know, what you have, and your experience, because experience is going to take you to the end of this world. And the reason why is like, oh, you know what? No, but I sell 500. I sell 2 houses a year. Okay, if you sell 2 houses a year, what is that saying when you are actually negotiating for a client? But now you're saying, okay, I have all this background. I know I have all this knowledge. How can I? Now you see the value and your worth is not on the volume, if not on the transactions you do on a yearly basis. So experience is everything. I would say it's not about listing. It's not about putting a really nice sign in front of the yard or say, let me just take pictures or anything. No. This is basically, who you network, you communicate, there's so many other things. Like I said, in this case, and I mean, we review appraisals. Let's say, for instance, if it doesn't appraise, then hey, how can we work this out for our client? Or, we make sure that, okay, what's going around the house? Let's see, what do you need to do? Like the house I went today, it was like, she didn't have that many things. That's perfect. Okay, now I need to find a place for her. Where are we going to actually move her? Is she going to be happy in that area? Or she wants to go ahead and take a yearly cruise, which, you know what? She wouldn't have to pay taxes. She wouldn't have to um, cook. She doesn't like to cook. All right, so then let's get to her cruise, a year cruise long. But there's so many things that you need to take into consideration about your time and your worth. Don't depreciate that. Don't devalue that at all. And especially if you're doing it for a friend, you need to know your worth completely. And this can be in relationships too. Relationships, it could be in anything and everything, I would say. Because when it comes down to it, why do people pay you? Is because of your experience. Why do people search for you? Because of your experience. Why do they want to work with you? Because of your experience. So if I decided to take pictures with a cell phone, would that be a good thing? No. But if I hire a professional photographer, then that's a totally different story, because you'll have more quality of video. You'll have pictures that are really nice. You'll have, all of this social media marketing. It depends on what type of agent you are too. Or you're going to talk about it on social media completely. So know your value, know your worth, and don't settle for less. And you know what? If someone's giving you a lot of headache, just walk away. Walk away, because it's not going to be worth your time or your effort. And sometimes at the end of the day, if you continue to proceed with these people, they don't value what you do. They won't value, and it's actually bitten me in the butt a few times because I I remember like, hey, I was trying to work with this client and I ended up losing a lot of money, believe me. And it was because I was trying to help them and all that. And nope, nope. They wouldn't budge at all. They would not budge at all. And yeah, I should have just walked away when they said, hey, you know what? It's like I said, just walk away, listen to your gut, and know your worth and your value. You are completely worth it, and you should know better. And it starts with believing in yourself completely. Okay. So I'm going to leave it there. This is Cindy Presgraves with Real Estate and the Adventures of Parenthood. Have a beautiful day.